here. I am very much looking forward to speaking with one Lauren Makk, ladies and gentlemen. She is the design star of HGTV currently. You've seen her on Trading Spaces, Andy's Drill Team, as well as the personality full Fab Life on ABC. Boy, she had a lot of colorful personality she worked with on that one.
Yeah.
And good Lord, does Joanne have some interior, or she call it redesign, questions, thoughts, and anything she can do with the hellhole that she lives in. Lauren, how are you? Can you hear us?
Good morning, I'm here, and yes, I can. Hi, guys.
Hi.
How are you? Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. God, it's so lovely to be here.
Now, it is really nice having someone who knows design Skyping in, because that is a beautiful backdrop. You've figured it out. You have some plant, you have some art with colors, dimension. It's really nice.
Yes, girl, thank you very much. You know, I'm obsessed with color, if you couldn't tell.
Me too.
And I found this piece of art at a thrift store for pennies on the dollar.
Love
and
it.
it is an original work. I'm here for all of it.
Yes.
Well, you know what? It's funny. I have always loved pretty colors, for lack of a scientific word. And I'm a little older than you ladies. And in growing up in the Midwest, that was very much not a cool thing to like. Like, you know, if you were a dude, you were not wearing fabulous colors, you know? And I always had to mute that part of me. And like, you know, growing up, you're wearing your jeans and like even like a red t-shirt, that is a little highfalutin, you know what I'm saying? And so it's only been in my adulthood that the palettes have changed a little bit. Hence me looking like a human bumblebee right now. But was that the case? I guess that's obviously not the case for girls growing up.
Well, I don't know. On the East Coast, you had to be careful with colors because of gangs. That's all.
Oh, well, there's that. Yeah.
Right. Well, you know, I'm from the Midwest too. I'm from Oklahoma, okay?
Yes.
And I love graffiti. That was my big thing growing up in high school.
You wanted to be a graffiti artist, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I love graffiti. But I love the spray. I love spray paint as a medium. But, you know, there weren't a lot of artists or street art culture in Oklahoma in the 90s, you know? And so I just had to pave my own way, do my own thing, and go against the grain. And I didn't even care if people weren't here for it. I was here for it.
Well, and the creativity and the overall fashion sense and all of that goes into interior design and that neck of it's kind of in your DNA, because your mom was very much this, correct?
Yes, so my mother she is Martha Stewart's Martha Stewart, honey. She was giving DIYs before that was even a thing. Like, and I think it really just comes from a sense of like, you know, lack really. She grew up not having much money, and when I was young, we didn't have a lot of money either, but I didn't know it because my mom made everything in our house. She made our clothes, she made our decor, she made our furniture pieces and like curtains and art, and she was always making things in our house. I know, it's so nice. And I would just sit at the table, watch her do her thing and you know, learn from her mistakes and make my own. And, you know, she'd give me little scraps of stuff to make my own little projects. And it was just something that we did together as our bonding time.
You know what?
So that's how I really got into it.
I am so jealous. The closest I have to a trait like that, and not at all, is I am such a cliche dude. I actually have a LazyBoy, and it's so old that it's got a giant hole in the middle to the point where it looks like a leather toilet. And all I have done, rather than get a new one, is I just put a nice blanket over it.
Oh,
and that's
God.
I just lost our picture. And that's as close as I've come to doing a little home repair and taking a little and making more of it. And I was proud of myself for that. I'm like, you know what? It looks like I did this on purpose, and that this is a look.
And you can switch out the blanket too, depending on the
Wow,
season.
fancy.
Yeah, I was very proud of myself.
This is like, tell me you're a bachelor without telling me you're a bachelor.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You should have heard us talking about the action figures I still have, and that would have alone let you know that I'm very alone, very single.
Well, you need a makeover. You need me to come over and give you a once-over, honey, because that is unacceptable.
There's a lot. Believe me, you'll go in there and you'll see a lot of unacceptable things.
So you were on Trading Spaces, I want to now say ages ago, because really it does feel like ages ago. It was one of the first like design shows really kind of out there, at least to my recollection. I was about was about 12 or 13 when it came out, so I would watch Judge Judy, and then I would watch
Yes,
Trading
girl.
Spaces, to the point where, so I was in a school district growing up where high school, we had magnet programs at different schools, and one of them had an interior design program, and I was thinking of going into it, but instead I went to the performing arts program, which was probably for the best, but I was so into it. But now as an adult, there's no way I could do design, only because of my OCD and being overwhelmed with choices. If I have to do a kitchen and I have to pick a countertop, a backsplash, and cabinets, there are so many options that I am overwhelmed completely.
Yes, I get it. I get it.
So how did you? Sorry, how did you really fall into your style? How do you make your choices?
Gosh, I always pick, I really when it comes to design, for me, I define the problem first and then try to figure out a solution for that. And then whatever that thing is, that solution, I just let everything else kind of fall by the wayside. So for instance, if you're picking a kitchen and there is, an issue with the kitchen that you want to hide, I try to figure out whatever that is going to be, and then I design around that. Or sometimes I even pick things that I love the most. Like if you're doing a kitchen and I love this backsplash and I know I want to see this forever, I'll pick that and then I'll let everything else kind of compound around that. So that's a little tip, a trick. But design is so evolutionary and things change and these trends change and all of that stuff. Like I say to anybody who's listening right now, just pick things that you like. Like if you like it, don't give a worry about what the designers or the trends are saying. Pick the things that you like, girl. Surround yourself by all the stuff that you love, even if it's your raggedy LazyBoy couch with a big old hole in it and a blanket on top. Okay?
Again, we haven't even gotten into the Star Wars action figures I've had since the early 80s. That's a bigger nut to crack, I believe.
There's somebody out there who likes that too, and they want to see that in their home as well. So you have an audience.
Yeah, they're all 12. That's the problem.
If I may get into your career trajectory a little bit, I was reading an interview you did, and after Trading Spaces, you went back to bartending. Is that correct?
She's making $1,000 a night or something.
Girl.
Yeah.
But
Yes, honey.
Oh, God.
As a bartender who desperately wants to leave bartending, you always think like, this big thing that's getting me out of it, I'll never go back to it, which there's no shame, right? In doing what you need to do to make money, to pursue your passions, whatever it might be.
Yes.
But was there ever a moment when you're at a bar working and somebody recognizes you from TV? And what was that like?
You know what? I didn't have that exact scenario, but I want to just tell you that I respect the hustle and the grind. Like there are so many ways to get what you want in this world. I mean, I've been recognized in embarrassing situations or situations that I was not proud of. Like when my son was potty training and I was in the airport with him, trying to help him relieve himself, and someone recognized my voice while I was talking about poop. I had that moment. Luckily for me, Trading Spaces was a fart in the wind, and so there was a real acute audience for that, and they weren't hanging out at the bar on Sunset Drive. So that's good for me. But you know what? Even now, right? Like I'm funding a project that I'm really passionate about that's expensive and is not typical, and so I have to think out of the box ways to create the dream that I want. And so right now I have a side hustle myself right now, and I'm still in television, but I have a side hustle. I sell my clothing online, because I just believe that if you have a dream and there's something that you feel passionate about and you can't figure out the way to do it, and you got to dig in your own pockets and fund it yourself, you got to get creative and really do whatever it takes to build the dream.
It's so true. And I'd always hear finance bros use the old line, diversify your portfolio, man. And I just tune out.
Are they surfers? What was that voice?
That was my finance bro. I'm not an impressionist. But that can be applied to anything in life. And I should have listened to them more for a lot of reasons. Yeah. But I mean, it's just, you got to have a bunch of plates spinning all the time.
Exactly. And I say, sister, there's a lot of money to be made in bartending, girl.
Oh my God.
You can find the man of your dreams over up in there, a sugar daddy, whatever it takes. to get the dream realized.
Yeah.
All right, hold on a second. There is a lot of money to be made in bartending if you look like you or you look like you. All right, this is one of those rare professions where a guy is going to be not doing as well with the whole bartending thing, because last I checked, tips count.
I don't know. There's gay bars.
Yeah.
There's gay bars,
That's
yeah.
true.
Hey, you never know. There's something for everybody.
It's true.
But yeah, she was making mint.
Yeah, that's
more.
only. That's
Well, you were at an
something
exclusive place.
I can't do. Yeah, like bottle service, bottle clubs. I can't stay up till 4 a.m. I have to be at like restaurants bartending because that's another life. And I'm now 34, so especially now, I can't do it.
You better get into this side hustle of selling these clothes, girl.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, what did with the Fab Life? You are with some very alpha females. Chrissy Teigen obviously certainly comes to mind, and I think for me that I've been in situations like that, broadcasting wise. That for me was a huge learning experience on how to navigate gigantic personalities like that. I mean, what takeaways did you get away from that? Were there instances where you're like, I've learned to not treat people like that from seeing others do it? Or, I mean, it sounds like everyone got along, but I mean, that is, for me, that would be very overwhelming.
Yeah, it was an incredible experience. And I got to say, it taught me a lot about, my own value, because I was so green. There's Chrissy Teigen and Tyra Banks and Josie and all these people, and they're throwing names around, A-list celebrity names around like it's nothing, and you're sitting there listening like, oh crap, am I in the right room? You know what I mean? But I got to tell you, like, it really instilled in me my value, because I recognized that their voices have this amplification, but I'm talking for the regular folks who are just watching them too. And so it really allowed me to have faith in myself, to know that my contribution was valuable. And also I recognized in them that they were so excited to have a friend like me, because I was a regular friend and not, somebody who wanted them for anything. You know what I mean? So they would, Chrissy Teigen would come over my house, sit on my couch, and want to just watch TV with me and hang out and talk about regular people's stuff.
That's
and
insane.
it was I think it was a refreshing change of pace. Yeah.
Yeah, I always felt that during our cable news days that people, like, if they hung out with me, they were doing it because they wanted to see what it was like to slum it. Like, I'm going to see how the other side lives. And I was like, and I was fine to play that role. I really was.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it was educational.
Everybody needs somebody, right?
Yeah. Although you'd be surprised how little the super successful rich ones foot the bill. I was hoping for a little more of that. I didn't see.
No, but they're being regular with you.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
regularly dip into my wallet. What are some, as much as I hate the cliche life hacks, it seems to be the thing. What are some things that you are really like embracing, come up with, quick stuff that even an idiot like I could do to make my living situation a little more livable? Actually, let me use the word bearable.
Well, first get rid of that LazyBoy. Just kidding.
It has sentimental value, but you're absolutely right. I think its time has come. Yeah.
I'm totally kidding.
You know what? I'll tell it. It brought. What is some Marie Kondo thing? I'll tell it that it brought me joy. And kiss it. And then
get it reupholstered. It's that easy.
I don't think it's worth getting it reupholstered.
All right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's very heavy though.
Not everything is salvageable.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I get this question a lot, and every design tip is kind of customizable or something that individualized. But I will say this. If there's one thing you can do in your home right now to change it, and it's free, it's to really just take a strong look at your space and declutter it. And for me, I would even say just clean it up. Like, it didn't even have to be really decluttered, but like for me, my kitchen counter can sometimes get really, congested because we're dropping mail and we're dropping backpacks and we got purses and, all these things happen at the kitchen counter. And sometimes I just take everything, I put it all in a box, I clean it all up, I wipe it down, and then I just look in that box and go, what really needs to come back in here,
Yeah, it's so
and
true.
So for me, just keep it tidy. And one thing I will say, this is my mother's technique, because she used to say, this is my house, okay? And then she'd hand me a box and go, this is your box. She'd go, everything in this house is mine. This is your box. You can put everything in it. So I started living as a young girl by this notion that I had to keep everything in boxes. So if you come to my house, which you're welcome to come, I have a lot of really cute ornate boxes, right? So some of the boxes have blankets in them or toys or, my remote controls, but I've managed my mess by consolidating it and then covering it up.
But these are
consolidate
high-end.
your mess and cover it up.
These are high-end boxes. We're not talking about
No,
like
they
little
are not.
UP. Yeah,
No,
I like that.
You should do like
honey.
a brand deal with the Container Store, is what it sounds like.
Are you listening, Container Store? You know what? I want to say this too. Everything I do, I shop secondhand first. Okay. I am garage selling. I am in my own garage. I will take things from my friends. I believe in secondhand stuff only because it's helping the world. And I believe in leaving the least footprint I can leave on this earth. And also, old people's stuff is way nicer than that stuff you can find at any big box store. I'm just obsessed with it. It has soul and it has purpose and it has, girth to it. It's not going to break and tear apart with my two boys, honey. Everything around here needs to be durable.
Yeah, and you're choir preaching. Anything with a history behind it, love it. Yeah.
Yes.
Generations before they may have owned it.
And it's cheaper. I mean, let's talk turkey here, okay?
Ding, ding.
I'm not an A-list celebrity, and I want to save every penny I can. So if I can get something great at a garage sale versus going to, some store online, I'm doing that.
Well, are there certain things, like let's say there is a flea market or a garage sale. What are certain things to look for to know if something is quality?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked that question because I get this a lot on social media, and I'm starting to realize that maybe I need to start talking about this more. But for me, you can pick something up and tell if it's quality, right? Like, when you feel something that's cheap, you can say, this ain't it. You can tell silk when you feel it. You can tell linen when you feel it. You can tell, bronze or something heavy, so the weight of something can tell you how valuable it is, the texture of it. Yeah, it always can do that. I actually found this really big box of bronze pieces when I was in Santa Fe a couple weeks ago. And I could hear it across the room. Somebody was jiggling the box and I heard it. I said, oh, that's money. I went over to the box. I opened it up and I could see these big, weird, funky bronze statue pieces. And I said, what the hell is this? So I didn't know what it was. It was $20. The box was half off. I put it in my cart and I bought it. I got it home. I started checking out the pieces and I realized I had something here. I ended up doing my research and I found out that I have this incredible chess set. These are chess pieces from this incredible designer from the 1960s. Worth over $5,900. Yeah.
That is the fucking dream. I get lost in antique stores for that reason. Oh, man.
Yes. I know. And you know what? So here's another simple way for anyone who's like kind of interested in this kind of stuff.
I love it.
Google is amazing, right? Google University.
Yes.
So you can get Google images, take a picture of something, and just check it out quickly. That's the modern way of finding your new treasures.
Sure.
And it makes it more, unfortunately, other people have that tool as well, so it makes it more difficult to find a treasure now that people are starting to become more and more aware of it. But, that is my dream, to just go there and find
I was just in New York City.
Like...
It's true. I was just up there with you guys last week, and people say, oh, there's nothing good in these thrift stores. Nothing good in my city, blah, blah, blah. That's not true. I was in New York City. I found this hole-in-the-wall thrift store just by a quick Google search because I was having lunch with a friend around the corner. I walked into this place. It was a treasure trove. I'm talking about big name brands, clothing, great home stuff, and people were just dropping bags off at the front door as I was leaving, and I was like, oh my God, my suitcase is not big enough. But I found some incredible stuff. So, just keep continuing. It's consistency, it's digging, it's checking things out, it's learning, it's making mistakes as anything, but these are affordable mistakes to make.
I'd brag about the 1994 Sean Kemp Seattle Supersonics jersey that I found for like $20, but I don't think either of you guys care. But it was beautiful. It was vintage. It was Kemp. It's a team that doesn't exist anymore.
And I bet it is worth so much money on eBay. You better check that out.
I actually think you would think by the sentence that I just so sadly said that it would not be, but I actually think it is. But enough of my yammering. You found a couple stories that I think that Lauren liked.
Oh, well, yeah. And it seems that you might actually have something in common with this mother who recently created. So there's a woman who themes like all of the rooms in her house. And one of them was the nursery for her new baby. And it is a Gothic nursery. Now, when you post something on social media, it's always going to be a mixed bag. Some people who love it, some people who hate it. Well, a lot of people are criticizing Rebby Hardy for creating this Gothic nursery, saying children need color, they need more stimuli to look at, they need the bright and the happy, which she then decided to clarify, hey guys, well, right behind this door is the brightest, most rainbow playroom for my child. But this is just one theme. And because of all this negativity, she then decided to create a TikTok account, Gothic Baby, where not only is the room Gothic, she's decided her baby is also Gothic.
My hero.
Which I do love. But you similarly decided to do something different with your son's nursery. What did you do?
Yes, it's true. Okay, so first out, shout out to Reeby because that nursery is fabulous, honey.
Yeah, do we have some pictures?
I would give my right arm to live in that thing.
Yeah.
Like, I want Reeby to come over to my house and do me a nursery. I'll just sleep in there. And also, she scored the most amazing antique baby crib that is from the early 1900s. Honey, she is my new best friend. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with her. I started following her on Instagram. Love her, and shout out to her for that. And yes, I did. I actually painted my son's nursery black. When I first found out I was pregnant, I said, the first thing I'm doing is painting it black. That nursery was so serene. It was so cozy. It was so warm and inviting. It was the perfect place for my infant to grow in. And if anybody's had a baby, they want that room to be dark and cozy for those kids to sleep in. So Reeby hit it on the money. And I love that secret playroom. Honey,
yeah.
It's like a baby speakeasy.
Door?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And she added architectural details with a faux mantle. She added all kind of cool a trim on the walls. That baby's nursery is better than half of everybody else's rooms in the house, period. Hands down, high five, Reeby, you rock.
So yeah, there is the vintage crib. There's
Unbelievable.
a picture of it.
Yes. I wonder how you could do that on a boat.
I don't know. It does feel a little coffin-like to me, that crib. Just a tad.
Really?
Which, yeah,
Okay,
I don't know.
So you need to get into it. That thing is from the early, I follow her on TikTok, okay? She found that on Craigslist for like $350. And she went to these people's houses. It had been passed on from generation to generation to generation. It is ornate. It is carved. It is a one of a kind. It is probably valued at far over. It's in the multiple thousands of dollars that crib is worth. And it is super, it's just one of a kind. It is an artistic work.
That's wow.
You know, it's just something, there's so much soul in that space.
Yeah.
And you can imagine how many beautiful babies have been raised there. And, you know, realistically also too, that entire room, if you'll look at it, it's really a lot of tricks. So it's really just paint, right? It's a lot of really dark gray paint, and it's all of the trim in the room has been painted gray. And so a room like that is easy to recreate because it doesn't cost a lot of money just to paint everything. You know, paint is one of my favorite places in a room to add maximum impact for minimal amount of money. And that room is gorgeous. Look at that chandelier.
Yeah.
That's a faux mantle put in there, painted. So, isn't that cute?
And then she decorates for different holidays. She'll add different things. And I mean, yeah, it doesn't really scream like scary Gothic to me. It's just moody. And there's a ton of light. Which is nice, which brightens it up during the day, but must be, again, like you said, really easy to make the room dark at night or at nap time.
Yes, honey. And I just want my kids to sleep.
Yeah.
Any mother knows.
That's the
Please
goal.
just sleep.
This is obviously a little more for mom than for the baby. The baby doesn't give a shit. The baby just wants someplace where he's not going to cry that much. But you know what? God bless her.
And let's talk turkey here. Every parent knows the kids sleep in the room with you anyway.
When do you have to wean them off of that? I always be worried, like, I'd be worried that I'd roll over on the little run and, pull Sopranos. Or B, that they'd be so used to it, like they're wanting to sleep with the parents until, like, they're 5, 6, you know?
Oh, my goodness. Listen, I still can't get my kids out of bed. I have a 6-year-old, and he wants to crawl in every morning. I always feel somebody's little scratchy toenails. And then I'm like, get out of here. But it is great birth control.
Yeah, seriously. Actually, I guess whatever keeps them from crying, you know.
I don't know. I never crawled into my mother's bed, but that's a whole other episode.
Explains a lot.
It explains a lot about me.
Princess.
I don't know how to love. But social media, how has this helped your career, changed your career? Because not only are you now able to see, like have lots of inspiration, right? But now kind of anyone can be their own designer and document it and show, you know, I know a lot of TikToks that do well are like people renovating their home who've never done it before. It's entertainment. So what do you now use these platforms for?
Oh man! So speaking of the project I was telling you about that I'm working on, it's a social project, and you know, realistically, before even 2 years ago, really, I think that people turned to traditional forms of media for their entertainment, for television, and all of those things. 2 years ago, when things changed in both the media world and also within our own society, so many people have recognized that I can use my phone or my tablet or my computer, and I can reach an audience that's so much farther than, you know, any cable or linear television. So, and it's also, if you switch your mind as a business person to think about social media as a 24/7 business card, then it changes the game for you. You know, you can reach an audience who's looking for you and your interest and your, you know, mind or your expertise, and you can be an expert at anything, you know, and you can instantly an audience who's listening to you and respects you. So that for me is a game changer. And I'm going to respect social media way more than I ever had. You know, I used to say, I'm just wasting my time. I'm playing on social media. And now I've had to like really shift my focus and recognize how it's a tool for me as a host, as an expert, as a designer, and also as really a DIY enthusiast. So that is why I'm focusing on and loving it. And there's such an incredible community for all the things that you love. If you like Star Wars figures, if you like LazyBoys, if you like bartending.
I'm much more than that.
Yeah.
I can't emphasize this enough. No, I'm not. But well, also, I also wanted to say, and I was reading a couple interviews you did, and considering that it is now sober January, it's just dry January, whatever it's called. I was very inspired to hear your own triumph over the crutch of alcoholism, and a lot of stuff that you've said really hit home with me with regards to how that all went down. But it's been about over a year now, correct?
Yes, it's actually been almost 2 years.
Oh my God.
I have to check my app. You know, it's so crazy because I never thought I could say those words to you. And thank you, by the way, for listening and for being inspired, because
Truly.
You know, it was really hard for me to talk about my sobriety initially. One, because I wasn't sure if I could stick with it, and I'd never really kept a promise like this to myself for so long.
Right.
And then, and number two, I was scared that I might fall back into it, and then I'd made this big announcement. Oh, I've stopped drinking, and I hadn't, you know. So it took a while for me to be comfortable talking about it, but I gotta say, man, I've recognized that there's so much release and like speaking of community building. This community the people that I've inspired is incredible to me, because I just never thought I'd be that person. You know, I love a cocktail, honey. I love a cocktail.
Well, and
Yeah, me too.
that's the thing. Like, I will talk to people that have been sober for so many amount of years, whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, I can be around it. I don't even think about it." And I don't understand that, and I'm like, I wish I could be like that. I wish I were you. But like, in your case, when do you, as much as I hate the word trigger, do you miss it? Are there situations you don't like being around because it does make you want to drink? Like, what are you sort of the stuff that either you try to avoid or just kind of put that craving in? Because for me, it's a lot of things.
You know, it's a lot of things. I mean, it could be anything, especially after the pandemic. You know, before I had drinks that were like, I'll have drinks at happy hour. I'll have drinks on Taco Tuesday. I'll have drinks, right? There was always like these cutesy little things. The pandemic hit, man, I'm drinking it Monday morning at 8:30 with my girlfriends on a Zoom.
Yeah.
Because, and I recognize that the method for me drinking had changed. I used to drink for fun, and then the pandemic happened, and I really drank for comfort. I drank for, you know, in the shower by myself crying, which was really awesome, by the way. But that's another story.
Actually, doesn't sound that bad. Yeah.
It really wasn't. It wasn't until my husband said something about it, and I was like, oh, you mean that's not normal? But, you know, for me, the way that the need for why I was doing it had changed, and it turned into a really dark thing for me. And I just had to get out of that. And I had to, there were some life-changing events that made it really me really recognize that I kept on the path that I was going on, that I was gonna embarrass myself publicly, or you know what I mean. I didn't want something major and ugly to happen that was like, okay, you need to stop. Like as Oprah would say, you got to start listening to the whispers, you know, before the big yell.
I like
and
that.
And so I just, yeah, you know, I was like, man, I just recognized for me that it wasn't as social as it used to be, and that I needed to do something different. So yeah, there are moments where it's really still difficult. I'll be honest with you. Like New Year's Eve, we went to a big party, and I thought, this is gonna be fine. I can handle this. You know what I mean? I'll be all right. And I wasn't. Like I got there, everybody was drunk and I wasn't. Everybody's tripping over my beautiful dress, stepping on shit, and I was like, I'm gonna kill you. You know? So
yeah.
I just recognized in that night, like, all right, this is not fun if you're not drunk. And
It's
I'm not
so
drunk,
true.
You know?
Yeah. But like,
and there's also these like ticks. Like, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there's also these like ticks too for me. Like, I love a cocktail while I'm getting ready to go have more cocktails.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And like it's like a appetizer.
yes.
And so when I'm like doing my makeup, like I recognize, or getting dressed to go out or dinner or meet friends, I recognize that that's a time for me that I have an issue, or just it hits me, you know. So I just have to recognize it. You know what I realized in my drinking too was that a lot of my drinking was to numb out from feelings, right? And that was good feelings and bad feelings, right? So now I just have to take a moment and recognize, oh, I'm having feelings, right? And then I'm like, how do I deal with them? What feelings are coming up, you know? But it's the same for eating. I love to eat. You know what I mean? I'll have a donut when I'm happy. I'll have a donut when I'm sad. And, you know, so, and you can put anything in that spot. You can put gambling. You can put sex. You can put, you know, drinking, alcohol, anything. You name it. Even thrifting, honey. I find myself lying sometimes about where I'm at thrifting. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Hey, if getting a good deal is porn, then I'm addicted to that.
There you go.
I highly recommend watching people play penny slots on YouTube.
Yeah, she does do that. That's really fucking weird.
That's what I do.
Well, and like, I know we're running out of time too, but like one thing that we've certainly found, I guess talked about a little bit is, you know, we making fun of the term sex positivity, but even before the pandemic and certainly during, I've noticed a new thing. It's drink positivity, where it's it's very much you go girl, or the male equivalent, about early drinking this or drinking during that, and I think a lot of it was to make people feel okay about the fact that they're alone at home, boozing it up during a time when you couldn't leave, but it continues. It did a little bit before that. I mean, the whole idea that the book club is nothing more than just an excuse to sit around with your girlfriends and drink is very much embraced. And I know that must be very difficult to be surrounded by when you're going through sobriety. But also, like, we're people. I mean, across the board, there are statistics. Everyone's drinking more than they used to just a couple of years ago.
Yeah. You know, it's true. I want to also say though too, I get by a lot through the lessons that I'm learning in my 12-step program. Like I just walked in one day and I was like, I'd always said I was going to check it out, you know, but one day I walked in and I just assumed that it was going to be a lot of, you know, fucked up drunks. And it turns out there are, but there's a lot, but those people are real people too, you know, and they have such great information and knowledge and like tips on how to like get through the drinking culture. And so I have learned so much from my friends that I never would have thought I would ever be friends with. Because I walked in the first day and it looked like a Trump rally. And I was like, I'm in the wrong building. And the woman said, not if you're drunk, you're not. And I said, oh, shit. Okay, well, here we go. And these people have turned into family for me. And so I've learned so many unique tips. And I just got to say, like, I never thought I'd be the person on the other side saying this. I didn't have any sober friends ever. I didn't know any sober people because my world had been created that way. And now it's really great that I do. And, you know, gosh, man, we could go on and on about this.
No,
I have a lot to say about it, but it's true. I want to share some experience and some strength and some hope to anybody who's listening, who does say, you know, like, man, I've always said on Monday I'm going to stop drinking. I always said that. I always promised myself that, and Monday would come, and then there would be, you know, Taco Tuesday. So I might stop for one day, but you know, there's always a great excuse. And finally, I had to say, like, when am I going to start, you know, keeping promises to myself? And that was the first one. And, you know, I'll be honest with you, you know, you say dry January. Well, I'm also cutting out caffeine. So I've cut out all my diet sodas, which is harder for me than the alcohol ever was.
Now you might as well just be cutting yourself. That's too much. That is too much. That is self-inflicted punishment that I don't know if I can handle.
I agree. Thank you. You know, now you're going to give me a reason to go have a Diet Coke.
Well, I wouldn't beat yourself up too much because you already got rid of the really hard one. Well, listen, Lauren, we would love to have you in studio next time you're in New York. This has been wonderful. Please give us all your plugs, your promotions, all that good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Everybody who's listening, please just follow me in my journey along on my social media. It's at Lauren Makk. You can see it there. Makk is the last name. And I look forward to coming and visiting with you guys in the studio. I can't wait to give you a squeeze. Both of y'all.
I will. I promise I'll fix the LazyBoy by then. But
Thank you,
and we know some good thrift stores we'll show you as well. But thank you so much. This is a pleasure.
Great.